You are watching TFI.
Greetings and salutations, citizen. Welcome to TFI, where I am super excited because yesterday Autodesk done dropped possibly the first significant step towards us having a decent conceptual design tool in VR. It's amazing. It's amazing. If you're as excited as I am, then calm the hell down because you can't use it, I'm afraid. I don't know why. I've asked them. I don't know why, but they've put it behind the colossal paywall known as Alias Auto Studio, which, name a car company, they use this to design their cars. It's a minuscule proportion of their user base uses Alias Auto Studio, and that's who are getting this new program called Create VR. It came with Alias Auto Studio 2020.2, and there's a new VR menu up at the top, and then this launches Create in VR. So sorry, even though this is applicable to everybody, Inventor users, Fusion users, Revit users, name a product users, they do conceptual design in VR and they could use this. They want to use this. VR's affordable now. Why are they putting it behind you? I don't know, mate. Nothing I can do about it. I've asked them, I'll keep you posted if I get a response back from them as to why they've done this. But nonetheless, mate, hopefully this is just Autodesk's way of proof of concepting it first, rolling it out to a small demographic first, before then pushing it out to the masses. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Because it's brilliant. It's so good. There's other programs out there that you can kind of design stuff in VR. The likes of Tilt Brush and Microsoft Marquette, they're not design tools. They're just painting with blocks and primitives that you can't do anything with, really. This, however, is proper conceptual design, and you can bring the things into Inventor and Fusion 360 after you've created them in VR, which is super, super cool. Anyway, here's Autodesk Alias Auto Studio with a dark theme, mate. It is possible to do a dark theme in CAD, funny enough. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I'm saying? So you jump into the VR menu, and then you can go to the settings. You can specify your VR system. I have an index now. I have a Valve index. It's not supported, unfortunately. So I'm going to run with a Rift, because I can't be asked to plug in my Vive cables and stuff. There's too many of them. So I'm going to run with the Rift S, which is actually pretty nice to use. It's really, really nice to be in the Rift S and this at the same time. Then once there's not many settings, click go, and it launches the Create VR environment with a lovely little jingle noise. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice and pleasant and countryside-ish and rural and calming? And there was probably a meeting happened to decide what jingle to use. So this is the Create VR display mirror, which you can resize to a certain extent, but unfortunately the mirror stays at this bizarre aspect ratio, so I can't fill the screen up with it. So instead of using that, which is absolutely no good, the whole point of that though is just to let people in the office see what you're seeing when you're designing, and they can comment on it as you're doing it. Instead, I'm going to use the Oculus Mirror, which unfortunately is equally as problematic because it crops off one side of the eye on the left over there. That oh my god, this. Right, so let's jump in and see what we've got here, mate, because I am blown away by this. I'm just making sure I haven't got any windows over the top of it. No, we're good. We are good and golden, mate. It took me about. I've just noticed that I've spent 2 hours in this already, and I've just noticed that these are the first generation Oculus controllers. Come on. And the Rift S has been out for like, I don't know how many months. Nonetheless, never mind. It doesn't affect anything. I suppose if the ring's on the top, then it obscures the picture. That's probably why they've done that. Yeah, it takes some getting used to this. It really does. It's not like anything you've used before. So it took me about 2 hours to get used to it, to the point where I can be fluent with it and I'm familiar with where the buttons are. Once you're in it, it's incredible. So it drops you into this VR environment. This is an Autodesk branded cube environment. The environment's just by the by. It doesn't affect anything. It doesn't contribute to anything other than to light the scene, which is quite nice actually, because you can see reflections of the scene on the controllers. It's just a nice touch. It adds to the realism. You can see the shadows on the floor. But if you hold down the left trigger on the left controller, you can go into settings and then change the backdrop. There's only 4 of them, and some of them are better than others. So there's the Autodesk Cube, and then there's this one which is like a photo studio. So there's 2 panel lights above you which light the scene. And then this one here, which is, I just don't like this one at all. I'm never going to use this one. And this one, which is like a photo studio, which is bright white. This one's pleasant to be in. It's just bright. That's the good thing about it. But unfortunately, there's a little sphere on the end of this spindle, which is your selection sphere, and you can't see it because it's too bright. If you go into a darker scene, the likes of this one here, see that there? That's just completely invisible on the bright scene, which renders a very important part of designing in VR completely unusable. So I'll just stay with this one. But notice the other nice jingles that they've got when you change environments. What a random noise. Whoosh, like someone's smashing a cymbal. You can change your dominant hand of your right hand or left hand. That swaps around, which is the kind of main surface creation controller. Anyway, right, once you're in here, so functionality is extremely limited. It is also very, very buggy. It's crashed out, completely hard exited on me about 4 or 5 times over a couple of hours. But for the most part, it's super fun to use. Is anyone going to be designing anything in this though? No, not yet. This is just purely conceptual. You've got something in your head, you want to get it out on paper or in VR and then into the CAD program, but you can design it like you're actually holding it. It's good for that. But no one's doing cars, no one's designing cars or anything in here. The tools are far too limited. So we've got surface creation tools, we've got curve creation tools. Curves are like guide rails for creating surfaces, but the surface creation tools are infinitely more limited than the likes of freeform that you get in Inventor and Fusion. You know, there's so many more tools in that than there is here, but it is first gen. They will iterate on this and put more in. The more of these come in, mate, it is going to be so good. Even right now it's good, but when these build and you've got more freedom and flexibility for creating stuff, it's going to be amazing. Absolutely incredible. So a couple more tools. These are more like manipulation tools, so moving points and nodes, extrude surfaces, align surfaces. You can bring in blueprints as well, so it's how car designers work. They bring in like top, side, front blueprints and then model the surfaces, create surfaces according to the blueprints. You can delete the references that have been brought in. New file, sort of new VR scene, open an existing VR scene, save your scene, and these are sort of symmetry tools. So mirror symmetry, radial symmetry for the likes of when you're doing alloy wheels, that kind of thing. Snapshot, you're looking at something, you think, yeah, that looks good. I want to show the boss that. I want to show someone I work with. You can click snapshot and it'll take a picture, a flat image of what you're looking at in VR and then send that to someone. And then I've been in the settings and then exit. Got layers here. So when you're creating stuff, you can drop it onto different layers and then turn the layers on or off. Standard CAD functionality, I guess. And then a very limited color palette on the left hand side with 3 different material types, which I'll show you once I create some stuff. And then again, a very limited color palette here. Yeah, it is limited. Kind of the word of the day here. The buzzword is limited, but it's extremely powerful, and it's such reassuring step forward for where things are hopefully going inside Autodesk. So if let's drop the planar tool down. Now when you select the planar tool, you get like a what's it called, a mirror plane, like a center line, which I can't see. Oh, there it is, it's over there. And then you can hold down the left grip, move it around, and then this is where the plane of symmetry is going to be. It's just so pleasant. You get this like gradient torch effect coming off your spindle, and you can see it's an infinite plane, and it's not always in view. There's a lot of thought's gone into that. So the likes of curves, when you create curves, they start on the end of the spindle here, and then you click to drop a point down, and it's like drawing a spline. So you're clicking, click, 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 and then you can see it's mirrored it around this plane of symmetry. You can hold down the grip button and then move these around, and then hold down both grip buttons, and you can scale it up or scale it right the way down. Scaling things right the way down is quite good for editing points or just getting a better overall view of what it is you've done already. So that's quite good. Hold down the trigger, and then you can delete stuff as well. Just again, use that selection sphere. Make sure that whatever you want to delete is in the sphere, pull the trigger, and it deletes. Right, surfaces. So this is the meat and bones of this. So it's a little bit tricky. This looks really intimidating when you first jump into it. You're thinking to yourself, what on earth am I meant to do with this? And then you click, and then you get this weird sort of bizarre split, weird kind of hall of mirrors thing going on. Yeah, that's not how you do this. So you put the left spindle on the plane, and then the right spindle sort of over here, and then what's going to happen is you're going to get a nice mirrored surface around that mirror plane, and And then if you find you're running out of space, you can hold down the grip button, just move it away from you. You can scale it up or scale it down whilst you're doing this as well, whilst you're in the middle of the creation tools. Green tick, finish what you're doing, and then you've got a foundation of a basic surface. So once you've got your, I'm not going to do anything too clever or fancy in this, to be fair. Like, I'm not a car designer, so as much as I'd love to do one, I'm not going to do one in a short YouTube video. But then once you've got your first surface down though, you can go into the likes of move CVs, and then you can put the selection sphere around little points, hold the trigger, pull, and you can just twist. Ah, that's so good. That is so nice. It's so fluid and intuitive. You can just put the torch over another point. There you go. So you can see they all disappear until you move that little torch around it, and you can see them appearing. So like painting it in vision. So it's not like information overload in your face. And it's all mirrored as well around this center plane. It's so good. It's so well done. It's so well done. But this is freeform though. I mean, I don't know if this is Class A, because Alias is a Class A surfacing modeler. Whether they've been able to reproduce Class A's inside VR, I don't know. I haven't seen it marketed as that, but I guess it doesn't really matter either way. You're not going to use these surfaces really for the foundation of a new car design. It is just conceptual. So you can go into extrude, pick an edge. See, you can extrude new surfaces off of existing ones. That's nice. Swipe on the controller to the left is undo. Swipe to the right is redo. So that's very, again, these are the things that once you get them, you get used to them in your head. They're so nice, so fluid and intuitive. And then we've got the likes of a line that aligns edges together, same as what you've got inside freeform. Extend, so that'll extend an existing surface. We've got extrapolate, which I think it's more of a stretch. So it sort of takes the projection of a surface and its edge, and it'll just stretch it along that vector. So it's almost like continue the projection of the surface rather than extrude out a new surface from it. So that's that, and that's pretty much it. You can split surfaces. So if you're running out of sort of editable regions, you can drop down a split line, and that puts in more nodes at that point that you can use. We've got corner patch. I've had interesting mixed results with. But yeah, if you've got like a sort of a weird split, and then you can sort of join two things together, but you end up with very, very strange end results. On the left controller, you've got this button here. It looks like a shop sign. What the hell it is. But that enters sort of edit form or edit nodes mode. So if you're in the middle of doing something and you want to quickly jump into edit, which is one of the most common tools you use when you're doing this, then it's nice to have a specifically explicitly binded button just for doing that. That's really nice. What you're looking at is me looking at a flat screen. So if you've never used VR before, you probably, I don't know, you might be thinking, I don't understand what the big deal is. If you've used VR before, mate, I know you get how good this is. You know how good it is to be able to do this, and to just whack. Look at this. Hell yeah. And then just bring it right the way down to just inspect it, take a look at it, and just pull it around, just twist it like this. Oh, it's so good. And then whack, cram it right the way back up to normal size. So good, so good. Anyway, so there's a couple more tools that we've got. I'm going to turn off planar because it doesn't work nicely with Revolve. So Revolve is one of the other creation tools that we've got. Now the CAD person in me is like, well, I know that's the center line for the Revolve. How do I snap that so it's perfectly up on the Z-axis at 90 degrees, normal to the ground? Can't do that. It's just approximately drop it in. And then you get a little circular profile. There's no way to have different sketch profiles. It's just a circle, and that's it. I suspect that's a future update, different profiles to Revolve. But you just pull down the trigger. And then, oh, look at, I mean, come on. Come on. How? And then if you think, nah, I don't like that, I want to try something else, you just whoosh. Yes, you can do this in Fusion. Yes, you can do that in Inventor, but no, you cannot just do it that quickly. So, you might be a glass maker. Maybe you make glass vases, decorative glass vases. And look, I'm changing the game, mate. Look at that. So good. You're a candlestick maker. Well, look at that. Drop your candle at the top of there. And there you go. I've got a lovely decorative candlestick. Or something like that. And then we've got Radial, which is, this is based straight up, it's pretty obvious, this is for alloy wheel designers. So it's going to create 5 patterns of whatever it is you make. So now if we go into Revolve, and then I create something here, like that, it revolves it 5 times, or patterns it 5 times around the center. Best to go this way. Yeah. And that's what happens when you pattern a revolve. You end up with like 5 copies of it patterned around. But mate, it's just so much fun to be in here. I can't even tell you. So yeah, that's the bulk of the tools that we've got though. That's all there is right now. And then a color palette over here where you can select a new color, select the fill tool, and then it'll change the color of them. And it's, to be fair mate though, it's actually quite nice, especially if you go for this middle material, which is like a shiny, glossy kind of texture. And then if you catch the light onto here and then it hits your lens, you get this nice sort of like red glare off of the model. It's so realistic. It's so nice. I don't know what the differences between these are. They're not tagged as anything specific. I think these ones are matte. Sure. I mean, what's the difference between? I don't know. I don't know. I know that one's glossy and the other one's, don't know. Couldn't tell you. That's Create VR. Unfortunately, it's just for Alias Auto Studio customers. But if you do have, if you're an enterprise client, for example, and you've got access to this is available to you. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until Autodesk get their act together and put this into something that more people are going to use. But what we've got here can be brought into Inventor and Fusion 360. So what I'm going to do, I really don't want to come out of this because this is so much fun. It's so much, and the Rift's really nice as well. The Cosmos would have been absolutely dreadful. Can you imagine your controller sort of floating away? And what do you expect, mate? What do you expect? You can't have a camera tracking behind your arm. Oh, that's just, why? What do you expect? I mean, this is what people do. My arms are passing in front of each other. You need to be able to track for this sort of stuff. And come on, turn it in. Get real. So let's get this into Autodesk Inventor. So save the current scene. Boosh, done straight away. That saves it out as an FBX. Let's hop on over to the desktop. Okay, right. Well, so we're in Alias, and what we're going to do is import a file. And we're going to jump into the Documents folder, go on over to, no, that's not the document, that's OneDrive. We're going to go over to the Documents folder, into Create VR, saves, and then it saves as an FBX file. That's a good sign. The fact that when you do a save, its native save format is FBX, because that's a pretty universal file format. Fortunately, Inventor doesn't read that, but Fusion 360 does, and I'd be okay with them. I'd be okay with them bringing this into Fusion 360 if I'm honest. Right, so that's brought it in. I'm not familiar with Alias's navigation tools, but there it is. Click it, and then we can go File, Export, Active as a WIRE file. Now, WIRE is Alias's native file format, which Inventor does read. It's part of an effort ages ago from Autodesk when they had the suites transporting files, but never mind, it was, anyway, Inventor supports it. So let's open up Inventor. Right, here we are. So we can go to Open and then go to the Saves folder, change the files of type to Alias WIRE files. There he is. Click Open and it'll bring it in straight away and then convert. It brings up the conversion box that you'll probably be familiar with at this point. Click OK on that, accept the default settings, and mate, your VR created surface is now in Inventor within a matter of seconds. And then what you can do from here is just straight up thicken the damn thing. Can we quilt it though? That's probably going to be easier. Can I quilt it? No, I can't quilt it. It's split it into 3 separate surfaces, which is okay, I suppose. That's okay. We can go 0.1, 0.1, and then 0.1. And there you are, mate. We can turn off the first surface that's been brought in. And there it is. There it is. Don't ask us why one of the faces is coloured red. I don't know at this point. I don't know. But that is now a solid model. You can fill at the edges. You can cut through it, drill holes in it. It's a solid model, as if you did that with Inventor's Freeform, but you didn't. You did it in VR, and that's a possibility now. Well done, Autodesk, though. Let's not dwell too much on the fact it's only in Alias, and let's give them credit for doing this and not abandoning VR. I want them to push forward on this, and I'm pretty sure anyone who's got a VR headset, more people will in the future. It's becoming more affordable. VR headsets are going to be more commonplace in offices moving forward. You can buy a second-hand Oculus Rift first gen for less than $200 now, less than £200 as well. It's very affordable. So come on, Autodesk. Let's It's amazing. Well done. Well done. Anyway, right, I'm going to knock it on the head there. That's probably enough for this one. If you're thinking about getting VR, don't get a Vive Cosmos just yet until you've watched my previous video. Go and watch that. I've bought the Valve Index. I'm going to be doing a video on that soon as well. I'm not going to do a spoiler with it because you just watch it when the video comes. Anyway, mate, just buy it. Toodles.